Dun, 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 dun. Hello, everyone. This here is Tracilyn Michael. How are you doing? Some of you may know me as T-Girl Tracilyn. Hi. Especially to my New Jersey clients. How are you doing? Check this out. I am by Hobart Arena. Evidently, it's a venue for live presentations? Is that it? I don't really know. Look it up. I wanted to stop by the city of Troy. Okay, it's a community park. I don't know, it doesn't necessarily have the name of the park, I don't think. Park department. At the entrance of said driveway, when I pulled in, they did not have a sign there. I have no idea what it is. I am in Troy, and I'll just give you some street signs. I like to do that. So if you're ever around the Dayton, Ohio area, and you go up north on 75, this is where I'm at now, which is by the spider web. Look at this. Can you see it? The sun's like right there. Anyway, it's Riverside Drive and Adams Street. Let's see if we can go around here and get the spider web. Here you go. See Riverside? Look at the spider web. Does it show up? I wanted to stop by this park across from the Hobart Arena to share yet again some things that I was going through at the time when I was here. I think it was more in 2011-ish. I came here with a gentleman. I was staying at his house over in Huber Heights. If it was 2011, most likely, unfortunately, I was working at Walmart as a cashier over at York Commons, just off of Interstate 75. Thank God I quit. Because what? Ain't nothing like walking through the same store and seeing the same people in the same positions. Okay. It just doesn't seem healthy-est. Not for me, anyway. So, a lot of people end up, I wouldn't say complacent, but they end up kind of like in a formed life. And in my opinion, for somebody like me, who is familiar with the life inside of their brain, it limits you, okay? And it also contributes to a bunch of people that don't give a fuck about you in your time of need, okay? Like the government of the United States could care less about people being homeless on the beaches in LA. Until what? There's too much pressure coming on, okay? But as soon as they see one person walking homeless that they know of in their local area, they won't do anything about it. They wait until the pressure comes on them. People like this, in my opinion, they need to be removed from their office position. They're not what's best for life. Okay? Who the hell wants to pay taxes and a compensation and health benefits, give them the life that they have outside of their office work? Who wants to give them a life as such? Their way of life shows you that they don't care about the general masses. They say they do, and that they speak on their interest, and if that was true, then why are they taxing everybody? You don't need money to build homes. You need willing hearts. You need the resources of the land, okay? Did any of them figure that out? Well, hold on a minute. They're gonna build the homes now, right? They're gonna start restoring these ancient old buildings. And they're gonna turn them into something. How much room are we gonna have to live in those son of a bitches' homes? Huh? I was looking at building a house back in Lickdale, Pennsylvania someday. Okay, with acres and acres of land. Why? Because my dog could clear a lot of land 3 times by the time I just said this tiny little message. Okay, more than that. Because you need room if you're high energy. Nobody here wants to live on top of everybody else, okay? It's very annoying. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you the ignorance that I have been living in since I came out here to Ohio. Just remember, I spoke to my first therapist who is licensed, Heidi. in 2009. I cried and told her what all has happened and I needed to get my needs met. It took me to 2014 on Halloween to move into my first apartment. And can I be honest with you? I appreciate what I appreciate about it, but I hate it very much. I wanted to enjoy my life. Can't enjoy it when the government restrains me from being able to make choices in favor of my level of intelligence and awareness and makes everything illegal. I have a very special message for the people in the state of Ohio that pass laws and sign the bills and get on television. Why don't you let me get on television every time you get on television and have something to say? Are you a pussy? I think you're afraid that God brought somebody here to the state of Ohio in their messed up circumstances to put you in your place, because one of the things that I've heard ever since I came here is the mentality is awful. It's unhealthy for people of life. Why don't you tell people and educate people that the reason for a majority of the health problems that are out here in Sinus Valley in Dayton, Ohio, is because they're being electrocuted? Are you a coward? I think you are. I think God has shown me my enemy wears suits and ties and cuts their hair above their earlobes. And then they wear wigs and dresses on girls' night out. Is that it? They're cross-dressers. Because it's okay in your private life, if you have a penis, to wear a dress. Shh, just don't tell anyone our secret. And God inside my head says what? Tracilyn is not a part-timer and is not into all that hush-hush private life of going and hanging out with other penises and talking about things that are irrelevant to real, genuine, authentic life. When I came out here in 2011, I was, in my perception of what I perceive, really messed up in the head. I was scared because I thought I was getting what they call Alzheimer's. I was scared because I thought I had serious mental issues that were going undiagnosed, and I kept trying to talk to physicians, licensed psychiatrists, hospitals, explaining to them what's going on. And you know what? Not one of them told me I had a chip in the back of my fucking head, and there's a computer in the sky that's penetrating into my brain. The reason for the whole list of disabilities on the Social Security website, all of them psychological, the neurology issues, that's all from being electrocuted. And then the government's telling you the only way that you can get Social Security disability is if you have one of these that are listed here, and then here's what you have to do. This is the procedure. In other words, you need to be seeing licensed doctors who are going along with it. Okay, they're not telling you the truth. They're too scared to. And then what do? They prescribe you medication. It's supposed to relieve the symptoms. Is it? Tell the Ohio governor that if a bolt of lightning zapped him in the ass today, there is no medication, the entire pharmaceutical company, that is going to comfort him. Okay? That doesn't even make sense. You're being electrocuted. They kill people. And chances are, because they can shut down the brain, okay? They're the reason for blindness. They're the reason for being deaf. Okay, deaf isn't real. They do things to your brain and it shuts down your hearing ability. And they can restore it and give it back. All the tendinitis, it's not real. That's them harassing you. And by the way, they're tied in with government officials, because when I was up in Lickdale, okay? That's when I saw the black vehicles. That's why they call them the men in black. Absolutely pathetic to think that there's actually humans, if that's what they are, on this earth that are going around tormenting people, especially innocent, loving ones. Of course, my battery is going out already. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get a battery and then I'll be back. I'm looking forward to sharing with you. Check this out. I have a photograph of myself on this train. I'm almost positive. I came here with Zod, who is known as Susie Jet, as a cross-dresser. The other side of their cells. that few of us, I guess, are blessed with getting the opportunity to meet and know. And I was scared out of my wits because he's the only one that I knew. She was the only one that I knew that would help me in my time of need, that I could tolerate. And then there was an extreme high volume of difficulties living in a household, knowing I have life inside of my head and all I want to do is be able to get my needs met in a manner that says I can start to do things I want to do with my body and my life. I don't want to keep asking people for stuff. I don't want to keep asking for food. I have to abide by their idea of a human being in order to live in the same freaking house. That is miserable. I was told they get people when they're what? In their times of weakness. The same people that caused the tornadoes through Tennessee and the tornadoes here in Dayton, Ohio. Yes. Those life forms. There's no Mother Nature. They want you to believe there's a Mother Nature. Okay, but you're not gonna believe me. You don't wanna believe me that a bolt of lightning and anytime there's any kind of electrical fire and stuff like that, that's them causing the problems. Johnny Cash's house burned down in Hendersonville, Tennessee. That was caused by them. And why? Because they do things through people. That's why in the music and entertainment industry, they try to get everybody not to use their real identity. Don't use your real identity, make stuff up, be a creator, you're a creator. No, there's one creator. And if you're lost thinking that you're a creator, you're messing up your eternal journey. Your whole time that you're here on this earth, you're messing it up. They try to get you to create all this other stuff like publishing and record companies and entertainment names so nobody knows you by your real name. Don't write about anything that you perceive as truth. Make stuff up in songs. Yeah, keep it about people relationships instead of keeping it about God. Because when there's God, there's freedom. When there's God, there's intelligence, there's more awareness. Most humans' conversation doesn't lead to anything but going home and complaining that your friends are boring. And everybody does it. And I'm here to tell you, God's not boring. You want to spice up your life, start being more focused on words. Especially when they start coming to you in large portions inside people's brains. You will find out how difficult it is to get your needs met and that your government doesn't give a shit about the true reasoning as to why a human being is here on this earth. If they cared, they'd be giving you a card or something, your God-given rights, access to all things, without being arrested. They wouldn't be looking for reasons to plant money on you and then take you through the court system. Okay, looking to jail everybody. Because guess what? Most of the people who are in jail today, there is no judge in the world. I'm telling all you fucking judges in America, you're a bunch of assholes. Every one of you. You can't prove who's innocent and who isn't. Because you can't prove who actually committed a crime. Because those things, whatever they are, aliens or whatever, can do stuff through a human being. Okay, they can turn you into a humanoid, just like that. They take the brain and they can stimulate it and then they can make use of your body. Rest assured, if you're having high volumes of sex interest, and you're sleeping with a lot of people, your sex drive is perceived as extremely high, that is them. What the reason is, I have no idea. Evidently, they're perverts. They like to keep humans just sitting around and masturbating, maybe. Do you think so? Do you do that a lot throughout the day? Well, there you go. Now, get in tune and go look in the mirror and say to the eyeballs, somebody's in there with me. In other words, you're not alone. All right, I gotta go get a battery and then we're gonna come back here to the train. The reason I'm getting upset is because I came here and I thought I was getting Alzheimer's. What do you think of that? All right, I am back at the train. Okay, all I wanted to do is set up. I stayed where I stayed so I could record my music because I don't want to do it later years. Originally, I wanted to do it with other people. I wanted to share life with others. I'm listening to these goddamn fucking pastors and I'm fucking going to life groups and shit and I'm realizing I'm not compatible with nobody. I really want to do shit. I don't want to just sit around and talk. Talk about what? I sense God. I really want to do shit. Fuck God. That's what I say. Who the hell wants to spend their whole life sitting on a fucking bed in their goddamn bedroom? I played guitar my whole life, and most of the time I played by myself. I come from a fucking worship-leading family. That doesn't even make sense, and I'm sick of seeing people like Joel Osteen's kid on a fucking stage on national television. His music is fucking weak. I'd kick him in the fucking face and stomp all over him. I am the greatest worship leader. Me. Not just in this time, period. And I'm getting my fucking ass kicked because I don't know any better. I don't know how to go about life. How do you get your needs met, Governor? I want to know that today. You tell me how I get my needs met. I want you to tell me to my face, how do I get my needs met when I'm homeless? Huh? Don't just try to set me up and put money in my hand, you son of a fucking bitch. Okay, or you're gonna be found with money in your fucking mouth. What else can I do? I wanted to live an innocent life. You guys are fucked up. You better give me a law-free pass. I believe in God. Punk. Do you hear it? I may be transgendered, I may be feminine-loving, but I will kick your fucking ass. In words. The entire Ohio fucking goddamn government is weak. And I'm sick of living in your weakness. God send somebody who is strong to tell you you're a bunch of assholes. You can't even fucking put a park sign here. What park am I in? I don't know. Do you think that's part of my confusion as I go through life? Hey, what happens if I lay out here in a bikini? What's gonna happen? You gonna send a fucking cop to me and tell me I can't do this here in case kids show up and they see somebody with a penis in a bikini? Because I didn't get to see anybody in a bikini that had a penis my whole life unless it was on TV and they were turning it into a comedy act. You didn't tell me that this is real. You didn't tell me that what we call girls might not necessarily be girls, but humans that had their penis severed at birth. By laser lights, energy, electricity. Which makes sense. In heaven, there is no male or female, is there, you fucking goddamn pastors of America? Why didn't you tell me that? May your will be done on this earth as it is in heaven. Then why are we fighting over who's gay and who's not? Gay doesn't exist anymore. Not just for me, for the whole fucking world. Say it. For the world, for humans. Do you need your gay rights? Do you need your gay rights? No, tell them you need your God-given right, which is full use of all resources, and a lawman can no longer set you up and say that you're illegal. There's nothing that you can do that's illegal in God's eyes. The next time you hear that a cop got his ass beat, know that he might have done something to somebody to deserve that ass beating. It's called stop going around and enforcing laws and harassing people. Why doesn't the government hire people like me to hold the cops accountable for their wrongful doings? Why don't you let me come in there to the law office in Columbus, Ohio and start smashing paperwork against the heads of people who are making it difficult for me to live? I want my God-given rights, you fucking bastards. And by the way, your state sucks. It's the mentality, not the land. Your mentality sucks. I came out here thinking my head's all fucked up. Chances are I'm gonna die of Alzheimer's. Chances are I'm gonna need a special person in my life to take care of me the rest of my life. Because that's how cloudy my head was. That's how the symptoms, as they call it, of major depression, that's oppression by people with electricity. I have a chip in the back of my head. I talked to doctors. Even when I went over here to the hospital, they tore down. I asked them if there was a chip in there that they could see on the MRI. Okay? I think they lied to me. Because it's obvious to me when I was a freaking kid on Lafayette Street, at 1332 Lafayette, just right there in the kitchen, okay, between the border between the kitchen and the living room. See, you don't think I have a memory? I have a great memory. And just because I don't remember the officer who was all bugged up in Columbus, Ohio, doesn't mean that if I ever cross paths with you again, I would kick your fucking ass for trying to set me up while I was homeless. Why don't you do it now, punk ass? I live over here in Dayton. The next cop that fucking tries to harm me is gonna end up having their balls kicked into their throat. Leave me alone. I'm innocent. I'm on Social Security now. Are you happy? I think the cops are fucking pissed off because somebody can go around in a skirt and make more money than them in 1 week than they do all month. Is that what it is? You got an ego problem, don't you? Buzzcut. Because that's what's best, isn't it? Because that proves that you're a man, doesn't it? That's why most of you are probably fucking cross-dressers at some point. See, what you do, keep it private, keep it in the household, is that it? Tracilyn says no. Anything that you try to keep in the dark is gonna be brought to, see the sun? Light. Okay, there's recording artists. They write songs about pigs and how mean they are to basically humans. I don't write songs about that. Oh, hold on. I do. But I'm also not afraid to say it. Hey, Governor, why the fuck don't you do something about these cops that go down Interstate 70 at 100 and some miles an hour? Why don't you do something about that? Why is it when their lights aren't on and they're in the fucking goddamn lane and they're going past you like you're sitting still at that freaking 75 miles an hour, it's okay for them? Aren't they supposed to warn everybody that they're coming through in advance if it's an emergency situation? How many times is it an emergency situation? Why don't you give me a permit for me to pull over the next officer that speeds by me? And if he tries to outrun me, I have the right to take out his tires to make it what? Because I have to stop the car in the better interest of the people in the future that he's running into. Because you can startle people like that. Do you know that? Hey, cop, in Ohio, slow the fuck down, man. Slow down before God comes up beside you and slows you the hell down. He has certain rights that citizens don't, right? Tell that cop to go read the fucking Bible. I have just as much right as he does. And I don't use my beautiful life to go around trying to set people up and fine them for going 5 miles over the speed limit. Is that it? Oh, do you know why I pulled you over? You were going 10 miles over the speed limit, was I? Oh, you poor fucking thing. Meanwhile, there's gun violence going off in my freaking neighborhood. I'm being electrocuted in my apartment. Everybody in Dayton, Ohio who has a sinus problem, especially on the right side, or has tendonitis, or has neurology issue, they're all being electrocuted, baby. Hey, officer, are you too much of a pussy to do something about that? You'd have to get in a spaceship and fly way up there to outer space to take care of it. Are you afraid of heights? Are you afraid of flight? We're here in the home of the Wright brothers, is that it? Maybe we could take the Wright B flyer and fly it up there and find out what NASA knows that they're lying to us about. Well, do you know what would be really funny? That cop would be standing here and looking up there and saying, so that's where they are? Huh? That's not in our jurisdiction, is that it? See, all of a sudden it's not in their jurisdiction. I'm not in your jurisdiction right now, officer, so what are you gonna do? Well, you can make some phone calls down here to the local office here in Troy. Okay, but then I'll be gone by the time you see this video, won't I? Yes. Where will I be? I'll tell you, Dayton, Ohio, where I was not born and raised. I was born and raised in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I came out here because there was no other way of getting past what was happening to me, lest somebody extended their hand and said, I will help you. Because why? Because the government of Ohio and the United States, like Donald Trump's position, there was a bunch of weak schmucks who refused to prepare for what was happening in America. You need jobs? I can start giving you a long list of jobs. But that's not what you want. Do you know that you don't want a job? Is the governor telling you want to serve God with your life? Or are you listening to the pastors on TV to have a positive attitude and go help your next door neighbor? They're talking that as though whoever's listening to hear that message, somebody bite on it and go. And I'm here to tell you, unless you read the Bible and you sought out the face of God and you wanted to know the truth within yourself, what is my purpose? Why am I here? You don't want to do anything, and you tell your government that they owe you a new education. Let me tell you something. If you're in school right now, you hold your teachers, the school board, the mayor, the local township. You start holding the governor responsible for forcing you to go to school to learn things that will not apply to you by the time you graduate. By the time you're in your 20s, you're going to realize that everything I've studied for most of my life was a waste of time. Unnecessary. I studied Troy. Do you think that's why I'm here? Oh, the Trojan horse. Was that it? See, because there's something inside of me. Because that's what they want you to believe. It's something inside of you instead of somebody with the electricity ability to penetrate into your brain and be wired via satellite to your brain. And now you can have more than one person in your head at one time. And that's how you know. The judge has to start what? Releasing people from prison. Because why? Because I can testify under oath as a person of God that there is no way we can prove who's innocent and who is not. But rest assured, if they already accepted Jesus Christ their Lord and Savior, they should be free. No laws apply to them anymore. You don't have the right to tell them how to live. Now what? Hey, I needed money and I'm a singer-songwriter. Why didn't the government fucking goddamn rig up the fucking goddamn Hobart Arena and tell the Hobart Arena this is a free show to get Tracilyn a home? She gotta pay for it. If I gotta pay for it, then why don't I make millions of dollars when I'm fucking goddamn doing shit? Why don't I make top dollar? Do you know what I'm sick of? I'll tell you what I'm sick of. I'm sick of fucking people like Bon Jovi roaming around the earth singing songs with song titles of people that came and lived and died as songwriters here in Dayton, Ohio. That's what I'm sick of these days. I'd like to find Bon Jovi laying somewhere in a field with a CD in his mouth called These Days. The last time we saw John Bon Jovi, what's his real name? He was found in a New Jersey park. Was he? Why? I don't know. They said they found him with a freaking CD in his mouth. Evidently a ninja fell from the freaking tree and had a CD like a Chinese throwing star. Is that it? Don't you get sick of listening to the same songs on the radio every day? Do you know what I'd like to, if I had any opportunity to talk to John Bon Jovi, you know what I'd ask him today? Aren't you fucking sick of listening to your songs on the radio yet? Didn't you have enough of it? Haven't you ever stopped and wondered why isn't there other people's music on the radio? Why don't we go ask your buddy Stephen C. Johnson? Huh? The one who's more interested about filling his mouth with cum than he is about helping people in difficult situations, especially songwriters. I was on this, at this playground, and guess what? I was trying ever so desperately to enjoy my life that day because I understood that at any given time, Zot could shush me out of his life and I could be screwed because I realized there's not one person on this earth that I could talk to explain that something's not right with my brain and I don't know what to do. Meaning I knew I was getting to the point that I couldn't take care of myself anymore, literally. Everything's illegal. That's a lot of stress to put into somebody's life. We're entitled to food, Governor. Why the fuck do I have to pay for groceries every time I go into Kroger's and Walmart? And why is them the only two places I can shop? And why do you have a Market Street downtown where everybody's selling food instead of giving it away? Tell John Mellencamp and fucking Willie Nelson to stop fucking prostituting the farmers in Indiana and abroad. Tell the son of a bitches to get off the fucking property if they don't want to do it with heart. Tell them to hold the government accountable. They have people to fucking feed on the earth who are starving to death. Money isn't the answer. It's you growing hair on your balls, old man. You spend your whole life raising money. Why don't you spend your fucking goddamn remainder days telling people that they're entitled to what God says in the Bible? Are you a fucking coward? John Mellencamp, in my teenage years, was the very first concert I ever saw at Hershey Arena. In my head, I pretty much knew what I wanted to do that day. However, I wasn't in a hurry to do it. I was graceful my whole life. Because I realized that I could do it whenever I wanted to if I'm willing to pay for everything. But let me ask the musicians of the earth, okay, that walk around, hey, I'm available if you ever need somebody. My rates are, hey, prostitute. See, that's what God's talking about, you. Why isn't there a cop with me when a musician asks me about paying them? Why don't they arrest a fucking musician who has his hand out and says, I'll play with you if I get paid? See, what God has taught me as I go through life, when it gets down to the actual important factors, like securing a place to live, like having a balance in life with this working and not working, so that you can focus on other areas of your life that are important to you, everybody disappears, especially the musicians. Why is that? Well, they have other important matters, and Joyce Myers would stand up for them, wouldn't they? Yes, she would. She would stand up for them. Because she's a fucking asshole. Joyce Myers is the worst teacher in the freaking world. God did not die so you can have people relationships. God died so that you could what? It's the only way into heaven is if you believe or not. Surrendering to the truth inside of your brain is what you want to do. And the truth is, you don't want to be surrounded by people who are completely opposite like you in every freaking area. Are you extremely skinny, but you're surrounded by a bunch of fat people who say being skinny is not all that, it's not that important? Are you around people who are doing things perceived as extremely unhealthy and they're telling you we don't need a fitness center in town, we don't need anything, we don't need to exercise and work out? What's the importance of that? Oh, what you eat doesn't matter. Well, that's really nice. Then you may find yourself not really fully understanding, but you're starting to transform into them, as your ass can barely fit into your jeans anymore. Because when you live around a dominancy of other people's idea of life, you start to transform into it. But David Ashcraft will not tell you right from day one, caution, this is psychology, baby. This is where it really counts. They want you stumbling through life, well, that's between you and God, and figure things out. Instead of telling you inside of your brain, words. If you're on the magic number quest, like I took time out of my confusion because I don't understand, nothing's working for me, so I started to study numbers, you will find out that they, wherever they are, in Yellow Springs, is it? Is there a gay tribe over in Yellow Springs that's considered to be multi-millionaires maybe? And they have little devices in their chest. And they can plug in and bounce around and in and through all living existences, especially those which have brains, like humans, dogs, horses, cows, pigs, etc., the birds in the air. They can be all things. Isn't this wonderful? I hope after the human life, that isn't what's next. Because I don't want to be the one sitting around every day of my life bouncing in and out of everybody else's body. Okay, God, please have a better plan for me than that. Your plan here in this life didn't work out too well for me. Do you get it? All these years I prayed my fucking ass off for God's leadership and guidance in my life because I wanted to do what was not just best for me, but my next door neighbor and my family too. And I am the one who got screwed the most. Because God, your idea of God, isn't real. You gotta be familiar with the truth inside of your head. That's in words, not numbers. In words is what's best. Whatever language you speak, then you will realize that we are in a swarm of words everywhere we go, especially with humans. And if they're not speaking of favor, of the life that's inside of your head that you are desiring, because that's what everybody desires. Everybody desires. Everybody desires what's inside their head, not what's being told through the television set, not what's being told through your governor's fucking mouth. Say it, say it, say it. I don't want to pay taxes. Say it. You don't want to pay taxes to a group of men so that they can have a certain kind of life. Notice all the government transportation. Everything to do with the government is what? They got to use money for all of that? Why is that? Think again the next time you see signs posted all over the place that says what? It's in government's protection, the property? No, that's for future interest of things that they want to do to that property. Okay? In other words, the government serves whatever they want. Okay, the dominant force. You will find the ones that are like with fuel, oil, especially oil, down in Texas, is it? Is it from overseas? Electricity, power companies. Those are the ones who become dominant on the force of the planet, especially in the human race. I think it was 2011 when I was here. And I was running around the park. There's some pictures on my Flickr account. I was with a gentleman that I was staying with. Things that I really liked about him and comforted me was the fact that he went to church on a semi-regular basis. He was very accepting of the fact that I was trans, and me for the most part. But there was more going on in our relationship than I was familiar with, okay? And that is, I started to catch on when I lived with two other trans people in the house for a brief amount of time, and the one came out and had a smirk on her face, and it was in regards to something I said in the privacy of my home. And the enemy, who was inside of our brains at the time, okay, with their technology, because that's what they try to do, is wreck households and cause all kinds of problems, I was wanting to backhand her and I didn't. This is the same one that ended up taking my guitar. Oh no, Zod, the person I was living with, gave her my guitar. Now what do you think that I was edging to want to do to somebody who took my property? It doesn't matter if I'm using it or not using it. This is during Joyce Meyer's teachings, by the way. I'm supposed to be a better person than this, okay? But I'm not the one walking out the door with somebody else's possessions, especially without their approval or blessing. In other words, I was treated like shit for many, many, many years while I was a student of Joyce Meyer's and Joel Osteen, as well as I was listening to others and reading psychology books and stuff because I was trying to figure out. All I needed to know is how the hell can I get my own money? Your ways don't work anymore, United States government. Will you accept that? You don't have a plan if it's not in alignment with God's. That'll be destroyed too. If the government tells you that they have a plan implementing and they're implementing it, ask yourself, read the Bible first. Read it. You, read the Bible. But rest assured, there's going to be something inside of your brain connected to a planet up there, an alien force of some sort, other humans, and guess what? They're going to try to mess up your brain to make you feel that you can't comprehend anything. This was our learning disabilities in school. It is to prevent us from learning. In other words, they want you to believe that it just happens at some portion in your life as you get closer to 50, because according to Mr. Hand in his pocket, he told me that people start to figure it out usually around when they're 40. Is that it? Freaking jerk off. Why don't you approach me now? I'd smack you upside the head. Okay, they won't get you when you're strong. And that man is going to be dead before I'm weak again. Not because of me, because of the natural progress of being a human being. We get elder now. And then we get fragile and brittle and then we die. Hi, and welcome to the state of Ohio. Well, we won't talk to you directly to your face in a manner that you understand what's going on. They won't tell you you have a chip in your head. Isn't that wonderful? If you had a baby and it was born in the United States of America, check the back of their head. Okay, it's in there. That's why you can feel the penetration coming through the left side of your whole entire body, which explains that your right side is a little bit stronger than your left in most situations.